Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we have such an incredible story for you. It's all about a kind king, a palace that was pure magic, and a prince whose heart, well, it was filled with envy. And it all kicks off at this giant, amazing party called the Rajasuya ceremony.
Okay, I want you to think for a second. Have you ever been to a party that was just so good it felt like magic? You know, the kind you never wanted to end. Maybe it was the cake, or the games, or just being with your favorite people. Well, hold on to that feeling, because the party we're about to dive into was so unbelievably amazing, it was like it jumped right out of a storybook.
So this party wasn't just any old get-together. It was a huge, special celebration called the Rajasuya. And it was thrown by the super kind King Yudhishthira. It was his way of celebrating how wonderful and good his kingdom was. And you know what? Everyone who was there was just bursting with joy. Well, almost everyone.
Just try to picture it for a second. Close your eyes. What would you hear? The air was just alive with happy, joyful music. You've got dancers swirling around, amazing singers, and the sounds? The deep boom, boom, boom of the mridanga drums, the beautiful sound of conch shells being blown, and these sweet, sweet melodies from flutes and venas. The whole place was just vibrating with happiness. In fact, the sound was so full of joy, they say it floated all the way up and touched the heavens. How cool is that? But you know what? The real magic, the thing that made this party truly special, it wasn't the music, it wasn't the decorations, it was the feeling in the air. The story tells us that everyone there was bound by love. What does that mean? It means they were all connected by this feeling of kindness. They all wanted to help each other out, not because someone told them to, but because helping and serving just felt good. It made them happy to make others happy.
So let's talk about that a little more. This amazing idea of helping out with a really happy heart, it has a special name. It's called seva. And at this party, everybody was doing it. It didn't matter if you were a king or a famous warrior. Everyone, and I mean everyone, picked a job to do. Nobody thought, oh, I'm too important for that. Nope. Everyone was happy to lend a hand.
And check this out. Bhima, maybe the strongest guy in the whole world, he was in charge of the kitchen. The incredible warrior, Arjuna, was making sure all the elders were served and comfortable. And then, get this, Lord Krishna, who people believed was a god walking on earth, what job do you think he picked? He chose to wash the feet of the guests as they arrived. Wow. Just think about that. It really shows you, doesn't it, that for a person who is truly great, no act of kindness is ever too small.
But while all of this amazing helping and sharing was happening, there was one person who just wasn't seeing it. He was looking right past all the love. This was King Yudhishthira's cousin, Prince Duryodhana. And his eyes weren't on the kindness. They were locked on the riches. All the gold, the sparkling jewels, the incredible wealth everywhere. And deep inside him, a hot, prickly feeling of jealousy started to bubble up.
Okay, so where was this incredible party happening? Well, not just in any old hall. It was in a palace built by a magical architect, a being named Mayadanava. And this place, it was something else. It wasn't just a building, it was a palace of illusions, a place that could play tricks on your eyes and your mind.
And here's the secret to this magical place. The palace itself was like a mirror, not for your face, but for your heart. If you came in with a happy, kind heart, the palace felt amazing and beautiful. It was a wonderland. But if your heart was holding on to unkind thoughts, like jealousy or anger, the palace became a confusing, tricky, and difficult place. It could feel like a maze.
So this palace, this place that was built for so much joy, well, it was about to become the stage for something big. The story calls it a fateful incident. That's a way of saying that what happened next, it was going to change everything.
You would not believe how tricky this place was. For example, you'd look down and see what looked like a perfectly solid, shiny floor. So you'd go to step on it and splash. You'd find out it was actually a pool of super clear water. Then, a little later, you might see what looks like a beautiful little pond, but when you go to step around it, you find out it's actually solid, polished ground. It was designed to fool you. All right, So here comes the moment. Picture this. Into this magical, tricky hall walks Prince Duryodhana. He's got his brothers with him, he's wearing his crown, holding his sword, he's trying to look really proud and important. But inside, he's still feeling that hot, prickly anger and jealousy from seeing all of his cousin's amazing treasures. So he walks up to a part of the floor that looks exactly like it's water. And, being a prince, he doesn't want to get his fancy clothes wet, so he proudly lifts up his robes to step over it. And his foot comes down with a clunk on a totally solid, dry floor. Oh, can you imagine? He must have felt so silly. Okay, so now he's feeling embarrassed, and that embarrassment is just making him even angrier. A little further on, he sees what looks like a perfectly smooth, shiny floor. And he thinks to himself, aha, I'm not going to be fooled this time. So he walks straight ahead with all this confidence. Splash! Down he goes, right into a pool of actual, real, very wet water. His crown tumbles off his head, his sword goes clattering to the bottom, and there he is, completely soaked from head to toe, right in the middle of the party with everyone watching.
Now listen closely, because this is the most important part of the whole story. The really important thing isn't that Duryodhana fell in the water. The important thing is how everybody reacted to it. Because in that one single moment, you could see what was truly inside each person's heart.
Just look at all the different reactions. Bhima, who loved a good laugh, he just couldn't help it. He laughed right out loud. The very kind and saintly people there felt bad for him. They cried out, "Oh no, alas!" But what about King Yudhishthira, the person Duryodhana was so jealous of? He didn't laugh, not one bit. He actually felt sad for his cousin. His heart hurt for him. And Duryodhana himself? He said nothing. He was totally silent. But on the inside, he was burning with rage.
And that right there is the lesson of the story. You see, the real palace, the one that truly matters, isn't the one made out of magic and jewels. The most important palace is the one we all have inside of us, our heart. And Duryodhana's heart palace, well, it was already wobbly because of jealousy. And after this, it was completely flooded with anger.
So Duryodhana pulled himself out of the water. He picked up his dripping crown, and without saying one single word, he turned his back on the whole party. He just left. With his head down, face burning with shame, and his heart burning with anger, he walked out of that magical palace and started the long, silent trip back home.
So that's where we'll leave him, walking away with a heart full of that silent, burning anger. And that's the question for you to think about. An angry seed was just planted in his heart. What do you think grows from a seed of anger? What happens next in a story when a person's heart is filled with envy instead of love? That's a really big question to think about. Thanks so much for listening.